Hey guys, welcome to Allison Customs Project Car TV. Today I'm working back on Gramp'Stang, and what I've got for you is a pretty common problem. You lower the car a little bit, put some nice wide tires on it. What happens is when you make a turn, the tire grabs the fender well, and I'll bring the camera down in a second and you can see where it's torn it up in a couple places. So what we need to do is either go to a narrower tire. We'd need a wheel with more back spacing to set the tire and wheel back in a little bit. Then we start running into problems where it might hit control arms or steering linkage and stuff. So everything basically fits on this car the way it is, but what we've got is this tire is catching the wheel well, and it's bending out the lip here. We've got a little crack in the paint from where it's hit a few times, and it's bent it up pretty good. So we need to repair this, and I've got a tool that the instructions say use it from the inside out, and it's like, okay. What it does, we take the wheel off, we mount it here. It's got a big nylon roller, and we're going to just try and roll this lip in. And two things we should get from that: A, the lip of the fender should begin to roll up. It's going to be working a lot like an English wheel, except for we don't have anything on the outside to help put pressure, so we kind of have to push in places and just hold some pressure as we roll this thing. Secondly, it can begin to push this whole outer lip out just a little bit, so making just a little bit of room. And we're just talking, you know, by the time we get everything corrected, hopefully all we need is, you know, 1/8 of an inch or something. So we'll get this tire off. I'll get you a view of the damage that's already here and what we're trying to correct, and we'll see if we can get this done. So now I'm hoping you can see this, but what we have right here is where the tire has grabbed the inner lip of the fender and actually bowed it out. You can also just barely make out the crack in the paint here, but you can see up in here the whole wheel well is getting caught on occasion. Alright, so we'll get this tire off. Here's the tool we're going to use. So I've already done the other side of the car, and this is where I took it off from. Just for curiosity's sake, I'm going to make a mark there, and as we go through this, the goal is just to pull pressure out this way and begin rolling this fender lip in. I need to get a rubber mallet and tap that. Where this caught is, it'll crease if we don't get it started the right direction. Hey guys, well, I apologize. While I was filming the front wheel, I didn't realize the battery went dead on the camera, so I missed some of the footage there. So I need to do the rear wheels anyway. The other front tire is already done, and really the only reason we're doing the rear wheels is because I'm going to put a 1-inch lowering block in here. So I'm just doing it as a preventative measure. This wheel lip is right out at 90 degree, so we're just going to be rolling it and just getting a little bit of curve. I don't need to flatten it out completely or anything like that. Really don't need even as much as we had on the front, but we'll get this tire off, get the wheel lip roller apparatus mounted real quick, and then go ahead and start warming up the paint so we can flatten that out. So apologize, but same process, just on a different wheel, so you're going to see a little bit of little variation here from one end to the other from what we had. We don't have any big creases or anything in there that we got to, or lips that are pulled out that we got to push up. So I'll leave as much of that other footage in as I have, and then show you the finishing process over here. And one other thing, I don't think I even used them on the front wheel. I tend to forget they're on the handle here. They come with 4 or 5 of these conical washers, and so if you have lug nuts that are the conical shape, they fit inside that washer, and so you're able to use those up against this tool and then put your lug nut on. And the value in that is it's not tearing up your tool for what little that would be, but it doesn't tear up your lug nuts, so you're not scarring those up that in turn would scar up your wheel. Just give these a little tightening down. Now with a rear wheel, you have to do sometimes 2 things. One, put it in neutral. Tires have to be off the ground so it'll roll, especially if you have Positrack. Second is this one's pretty tight. You may need to make sure your parking brake, A, is off, and B, you may need to loosen it a little bit so you can spin these. I had already adjusted my parking brake, so I know it's just starting to hang. I'm just going to suffer through it and get this done, but we're going to start with a little different angle on here and try and get this to begin the bevel. Okay, with everything mounted, got it a little bit snugged up. Go through the same process. We're going to apply some heat. We don't want to apply a lot in any one place. We're just going to try and warm up all the paint, and that's going to make it a little more flexible so it'll start to take this roll without chipping and cracking. And I think that's mostly the part we missed on the front fender, is we didn't have the video cut out about the time I was starting to heat the paint up. Now, obviously, when I edit this out, I'm going to speed through this part. But you can expect it to take 5 to 7 minutes. You know, if it's kind of cool here today, it's in the low 50s, which is a nice day for us in winter. But the shop, I hadn't had the shop heated overnight, so the car itself was fairly cool. Expect 5 to 7 minutes initially to get everything warmed up, and then just roll a little bit and heat it, and roll a little bit and heat it, just keeping it warm, you know, not hot to the touch, but enough, I mean, I guess warm to the touch, but not hot. Another thing you can do to make this easier is when we were putting in the rear gears, I could have left those out, put the axles in, and done this. That would have made it substantially easier. Disconnecting the drive shaft would make it easier so that you're not having to spin internal parts of the transmission. But I don't need that much of a roll, so I'm just gonna work my way through it. You can see what I've been doing is just keep heating this up. Just keep heating this up with this gun. And there are other ways to heat this. If you had a big infrared heater, you could heat the whole side of the car here. You could put it, a nice warm day, put it out in the sun, just work outside, let the sun hit it, warm it up, especially darker colors. Got just about all I was really after. I'd like from about here to here to go a little further. Alright guys, you can take it as far as you want, but that's all we needed right there. Should clear it. We didn't do any more damage to this area. Got some flaking on the inside lip, but that can be for multiple reasons. One is probably the stress we're putting on it, but the other one is a lot of times the inside of a fender well doesn't get painted very well. It doesn't get prepped properly. So while we're trying to fix this crack, we've got some chips back here and stuff, so it may, but as we do that, we'll re-prep this and spray it. And I say it could be prepped because when I did the other side, I didn't have any of this problem at all. There was no original crack either, but I rolled it every bit as much as this one, and I have no flaking on that side. So I do know this was a replacement fender, so if it wasn't prepped properly to begin with, we could run into that same issue. So anyway, that's the process. You just keep rolling and working your way up, and we've got it back up to the same point that the other side is at, and that should give us the room we need. Plus we got rid of that big crease in here, and this lip is now most of the way back towards the fender here. There's probably a 1/4 or 3/8 inch gap in most of the area. So again, thanks for watching. I hope this taught you a little something. Obviously, this is the thing to do before you paint a car. We've now got it to where they're both pushed out just enough that hopefully that'll keep the customer from having a problem with catching the tire. We also have to readjust these fenders a little bit anyway, so we had some chips and stuff we were going to be repairing, so for this, no big deal. Anyway, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. But if you've already painted it, you know, touching up the inside of a fender well is not a major event. You just get the paint, prep the outside, blend it a little bit to the lip, and it all goes away in just a few minutes of work there. Okay, maybe an hour.